I think you were lucky coming to one of my seminars because you learned a lot of stuff really quickly, which can now change the other stuff you learn. Because one of the things I teach is how to evaluate new material. Everything people say, you've got to say, what are the pros and cons of that? Number one, do you think it's true? Do you believe in it? Can you do that? Could your heart and soul do that? But what are the pros and cons? And then you make a decision. And information that comes in, a lot of it is just silly. You won't get the dog trained, you know. And a lot of that would include like prong collars, shock collars. It is silly because they don't know how to use it. Most complicated tools to use that requires the highest skill set, but who's using it? Someone who couldn't train the dog to do a recall or a downstay.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't train a dog to do a recall and a downstay, you certainly cannot work a shock collar or a prong collar, you know. Now, by mentioning them, I'm not advocating the tool. I would never use a prong collar. I would never use a shock collar. One, because I don't have the skills to use a shock collar. I'm not good with buttons, you know. I'm that seriously. That's why I don't. If you see me on my cell phone talking to someone, and then another call comes through, and I always hit the wrong button. I can't deal with it. There's a red and green one together, and a green one, and there's a red one. Anyway, so dealing with the people is cool. It's why I play games in training, because we can quantify the baby steps, and then the owners see the improvement. So my favorite example there was in a puppy class. It was a lady with a Jack Russell. After class, she's got her head in her hands and she's not moving from her chair. And everyone's left. I go up to her and say, you okay, man? And she said, no. I said, what's wrong? And she said, she's almost crying. You know, she says, it's the dog. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, well, I never wanted a dog in the first place. My kids wanted a dog and my husband chose a Jack Russell. Well, you know, first night in class, the whole family comes. Second night in class, it's just her and the kids. Third night, it's just her. And she's decompensating. And I said, well, let me help you. I said, I'll tell you, I really like Jack Russells. I grew up with them. And I pretty much understand them. I'm sure I can help you if you'll let me. And I'll say, name a problem. I said, I don't know. Well, he won't sit still for a second. I said, okay, well, let's check it out. So she's still there with her head in her hands. And I go, Jack Russell, sit. And I got my stopwatch and boom, boom. I said, you're right. 0.2 of a second is his sit stay. Try again, try again, try again. On the first attempt at a sit stay, 1.2 seconds. I said, hey, look at this. Your dog's proved you wrong. That's 1.2 seconds. She says, oh, don't be so stupid. You see, she didn't understand baby steps. So I used my superior math and I said, well, you know what? What you've just seen there is an improvement of 600% in under 12 seconds in 4 trials. If we can do that again, 3 times over, you have a 4.5 minute sit stay. Should we go for it? So she sort of looks up at me trying to process this information. So I said, okay, you have investments, right? What if someone came to you and said, I have a killer deal. Your money will make 600% every week. Would you go for it? She said, I'd mortgage the house. I said, right, you're on board. Watch this. So we worked with this Jack Russell. I think it was about 25 minutes. We had a 1-minute sit stay. Single verbal command, Jack Russell, sit. Very little verbal feedback, occasional praise, did a 1-minute sit stay. And so by training, by quantifying the training, they can see the baby steps and they're always having a personal best with the dog, which is reason to celebrate. And I think that's really important. I've always maintained with people, I did in my book today, actually, I was writing chapter outlines, and one outline was the dog's point of view. And of course, the other part of that is the owner's point of view. They want this to be quick and easy. They don't want you to lecture on for half an hour about learning theory. They want you to work with their dog and change its behavior within a couple of minutes. So I've always mandated that, you know, training should be quick, easy, extremely effective, and downright enjoyable. Because those three things, quick and easy and effective, make it enjoyable. Because now it's fulfilling for the owners. And I think for a lot of dogs, it's fulfilling for them. I think they know when they're doing a good job, because we're basically teaching them, we're training them how to train us to be happy. You know, we think of training, we're training the dog to sit, stay, or training the dog to sit or to watch. The dog, though, is learning, oh God, my owner's down in the dumps. I must cheer them up.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're smiling and petting the dog and you feel better. And so all the while we think we're training the dog, stimulus and response. If we switch the stimulus as a response, the response as a stimulus for the dog is training us. And that's why the people stuff is so important. People are everything. It's all about people.